1, 0. There we go. Hey, everybody. How is everybody doing? What's up, El Nenny? What's up, Crash? Wise Choice Money. Neil was first. Neil, you don't get a prize, but you're first. So Dave is second. So my goodness, El Nenny was third and Crash was fourth. Anyways, Moongod, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just busy with life stuff and things. So, yeah. There's a lot going on. We got a lot to talk about today. And I don't want this to be a 2-hour AMA because I got to go play Batman Imagine X toys with my 5-year-old. So
there you go.
Yeah, we're gonna give it a minute or two here, I would say, and then we can just pop right into it.
Yeah. Yep, sounds good. Yeah, it looks like we only got about 9 people in right now. And this is being recorded, so if you miss it, you can always catch it later. Thank you, Greek, for letting me use your StreamYard account. And yeah, it's very user friendly, I gotta say.
Yep.
Even a Frenchman can use it.
And for those relatively excited and curious, we are going to be showing off a couple of things on Greek's stream tomorrow. I'm doing an AMA with him in the evening, and
awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna be showing off a couple of things. I'm going to show you guys how to add the OPBNB chain. We may even show off some of the DApp stuff and things like that we're setting up.
Cool.
Just so you guys can get some quick little eyeballs on what things might look like.
All right.
Some of this is still obviously, like subject to change. So depending on some feedback and depending on adjustments that we want to make, we'll probably, rework a couple of things at some point in time. But yeah, the goal is to kind of try and keep it as streamlined and as simple as we possibly can.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
What's up, Yanni? What's up, Captain?
All right. I'm going to mute myself really quick while I have a couple of more pretzel bites here.
All right. All right. So yeah, guys, we have got some big stuff to go over. What's up, Custom Games Modes? And I'm going to be talking about the launch. Going to be talking about some exciting developments that Moongod told us about, which hopefully come to fruition, which would be very cool. And of course, Dave is saying no sneak peek here tonight. I don't know. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, of course, Moongod is here to answer them.
So yeah, no sneak peeks tonight. We still have a couple of connection points that we're trying to set up, and there's a few things that Sanjay believes he'll have finished up by tomorrow morning. So don't want to show anything until we're kind of like almost at the point there where we want to be. So yeah, cool. We'll have a couple like screenshots and some things like that to show off tomorrow, and we're really excited for it just across the board. But yeah, not tonight. We got a few more things we need to get set up and good to go first. So tomorrow night we'll be showing off a couple of things. Again, I do just want to throw it out there and say this really quick. It is not going to be like, this crazy over the top process. Again, our entire goal for this is we want to keep it as simple as possible. And the logic and the reasoning behind that is, if someone just wants to partake in the system by just buying and holding, they can. And then from there, if they really want to do kind of a deeper dive and be able to, deposit in the vaults or do some other stuff, as we add on other layers and project functionality, especially as we move towards, the launch of our decks later this year, it's going to be a situation where we want that flexibility to be there. But at the bare minimum, we want to keep things as basic and as simple as we possibly can. So that's our entire idea and our entire concept behind design, infrastructure, everything like that is we don't want to have, crazy over the top processes that you have to, you have to go here to do this, to do this, to do this, and then it circles back over here to do that.
Yeah.
We may end up having some functionality similar to that, but our goal is to take a lot of that manual process that you normally have to face and remove that. So in speaking about that, I'll talk really quick about the vault system, about our launch date, and just we'll kind of jump right into it super fast here.
Awesome.
So the current goal for the launch is July 27th. We've gotten everything completed from Solid Proof. We've got everything back. We're going to release the notes from them. And basically, our contract is already up and good to go. We're going to be releasing the contract address ahead of time so people can add it to their wallets, get everything approved, stuff like that. So that way it's not a mad dash to try and approve, and then, buy. So we'll be releasing the contract address ahead of time, just to give people the capacity to be able to like pre-approve and do whatever they need to do, get it added to their wallets.
Cool.
And as for the 27th, we are going to go through and effectively do a stealth launch. And the idea and the logic behind that is we don't want too much craziness involved in this. What I will say is it'll very likely be early Eastern Standard Time. So for those of you that are in the US, the idea is we want to have it at a period of time where most of the team can be available. So just kind of, I'm not going to give like a hard date or a hard time frame because we haven't fully decided on that yet. We want to see how things kind of play out the rest of the week and make sure everybody's going to be available. But it will be a situation where it'll be probably pretty early Eastern Standard Time. So if you are on the West Coast of the United States, it will be something where I would absolutely recommend considering maybe setting up something to buy your stuff when it goes live. So just like a heads up there. But yep, 27th stealth launch. And as for the launch, we are making a slight adjustment here. So originally the plan was to launch for the full amount that was in the LP prior to the exploit, and about $9,000, give or take just a little bit. And the stipulation that came with that is it would drastically reduce the initial purchase price, probably by about, I think it was going to end up being by about like 20% or something like that. So the initial price would have gone from about 0.0045 to 0.00346 or something like that. So what we've decided to do to keep it the same is we are going to be removing the tokens on the RayFi side of things so we can balance out that value and have it start at that same 0.0045, which is where it was when the exploit occurred. And those tokens that we're going to be removing there, we are going to be placing in a wallet for future use as part of some of our DEX stuff that will not receive any kind of payouts. Effectively, this is going to be a wallet that we're going to have set aside that eventually will be used towards like our emission wallet / contract, like months down the road. So we're going to be removing those tokens. They're basically going to be placed in a spot where they will not receive payouts. And then those will be used at a later point in time down the road. So just to give people a heads up as to what's happening, I don't want anybody to panic and be like, hey, what's going on? What's happening here? Why are these tokens not a part of this? And why are they being set aside? So we just wanted to provide that information really quickly, just straight out the gate. We are making a slight adjustment there to get the same initial value, so to speak. And again, just to reiterate, those tokens on the RayFi side that we're going to be removing will be placed in effectively a multi-sig wallet that will be blacklisted from payouts. So that way we can go ahead and just make sure that those are used at a later point in time for, like we talked about, the emission side of things for the DEX months down the road. So, yep, they'll just sit in there and they won't do anything.
Cool.
Now, leading into the vaults, I know it's something that People are very, very curious about how they're going to kind of work. The OPBNB side with the BSC side and what's going to be the process there. So we did have what I'll consider and what I'll say a little bit of a breakthrough regarding the BSC side of things.
Oh, yeah.
And up to a certain point, we will be able to potentially automate the process for the reward payouts on the BSC side of things. So you will not need to claim, is our current hope. Again, I do want to say that this is tentative. We are going to test it out in the first payout month just to ensure that we don't run into any kind of issues with that process, but we believe we've got something set up that's not going to cost us an arm, leg, and a kidney. So that way we can just airdrop everybody their 4 tokens. Again, remember, we are only launching with 4 token first, testing things out there. If that all works, then we will add in 1 and 3 token to ensure everything is good to go across the board. And again, that'll just happen at the start of month 2. And then if all works well with 4 token and the airdrop process that we're looking to go through, we will automate the process for 1 and 3 token as well. So you won't have to manually come in and claim anything at all. The hope is that we'll be able to just airdrop everything to everybody when we do the payouts.
Awesome. And will 4 token be available to stake in at launch, or did you say it was going to start in month 2?
No, 4 token will be month 1, so it should be available launch or shortly thereafter. We've already got it's set up on our side. The vaults have already been created through our contract, and we are 100% good to go there. It's just we've got to just basically, we've done everything on testnet, but there's not a way for us to really test it on live. It should work 1-to-1 without any kind of issues, but it's cross-chain. So we can't really test cross-chain setups and processes like that on a testnet. It just doesn't work. So, again, it's just something we don't foresee any kind of issues. We don't foresee any kind of problems coming up with it. We're just, we're hoping that the automated process will work, and that way people don't have to come in and manually claim. That's pretty much the whole 9 yards with that one.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's a big change that we're hoping we can push through here. What it will come down to, though, is we effectively are going to be able to run it like that up to a certain point. And what I mean in that process is, as of right now, between community on the 1 token side and the community on the RayFi side of things, it's not an issue. It's very much so likely that this could change, obviously, as time goes on. So if we get to the point where we have like 3,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 holders, we'll have to reevaluate as time goes on. So that's pretty much the gist of it there. Just to give everybody insight as to kind of what's going on. Any questions about that at all? The only one I see is, hello, I am just a...
I'm pretty sure that's a BTK.
Buy the Bitcoin. Just throw money at your computer screen. Just...
Yeah, exactly.
Pull cash
just find the coin slot on your computer.
Yep, all in pennies, and just throw it at your computer until you have the Bitcoins. So, yep, that's the way it works. Me personally, I'm a much bigger fan of the Ethereums. So I pull out dollar bills, y'all, and throw that at my screen until I have all of the Ethereums.
That's how I handle all my problems. I just throw sweaty dollar bills at it.
Yep, throw the dollar bills, y'all. That's pretty much just the long and short of it. Big vault change. We're very excited for it. Legends R Us. I'll just repeat it really quick. Launch date is the 27th. It will be a stealth launch. Will likely, depending on like your time zone, using Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, however you want to call it, as the example, it'll most likely be early Eastern Standard Time. So if you are Pacific Standard Time, I would recommend looking into setting up a bot to maybe make your purchase if you're that worried about it. We will be releasing the contract address, for those that are out there and very skilled sleuths. I will say you should be able to find our contract address if you look on the OPBNB scan. But we will announce it and make it public to everybody prior to our launch, so you don't have to worry about anything there.
Cool.
Circling, I do want to say this as well. Circling back to some launch information, for anybody that's just coming through, not aware of the process, when we do go to launch, we are basically going to fire off a script and a contract that is going to fund the liquidity pool and then airdrop everybody their tokens as well. So it'll basically be instantaneous. The LP will be created and everybody will be airdrop their tokens. So yeah, just want to give everybody a heads up. V1 tokens will be airdrop. Well, technically, yeah, I mean, if you want to call RayFi, since we renamed V1 RayFi, however you want to call that, they will be airdropped at the same time the LP is created. So what'll happen is we've got a script that's already set up. We'll fire off the script. It will create the liquidity pool, the pairing between RayFi and USDT, and then it'll airdrop everybody their tokens. And then from there, it'll be a situation where like trading will be live and everybody will be good to go. So, yep. And like I said, it will be a stealth launch. Again, likely just to give everybody some heads up here, so nobody's like, "Oh, I'm surprised." It will very likely be early morning Eastern Standard Time, so super early morning Pacific Standard Time. Again, that's why we're releasing the contract early in terms of the contract address. So if you feel like you have to get in minute one, I'm not saying you do, but if you feel you have to get in like the moment it goes live, you may want to set up a bot or something like that. I'm not recommending one or the other.
You said you guys are going to announce it when it goes live?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So if people just have, the notifications on, they'll see the notification on their phone. So
correct.
They can be one of the first if they're just, addicted to their phone like I am.
Yeah, definitely the case. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody was made aware that like, hey, contract address will be out there. Everybody will have, an equal and fair opportunity at this. And it'll be a situation where it's going to be a little chaotic in the beginning. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, this is going to be the last time we're going to go over the launch date. And then you'll just have to rewatch. So it's the 20th of July.
There we go. Yanni helped him out.
Yep.
It's going to be a stealth launch, Blacksmith, and it's going to be early Saturday morning sometime. They're going to announce it. So if you just have notifications on for the RayFi Discord, you'll see it on your phone.
Yep. Sorry. Yeah, so I think that covers most of the launch and the vault stuff. There's a couple of other things my brain is just trying to process through really quick.
No problem, bro.
I'm having a moment here. I apologize. Lost my train of thought there as I was trying to.
Anybody have any questions while Moonguy's trying to find his place? Because he just told us about the vaults, which is awesome. They might be automated for our tokens, which are on BSC. And launch is going to be early Saturday morning. It's going to be a stealth launch, but they are going to notify us. So.
Oh, yes. And again, just to reiterate what I brought up earlier, as for pricing, in case anyone's like panicking, nervous, whatever it is, because I know we originally talked that the launch price might be slightly lower than what it was before. We have decided to rebalance that to ensure that the starting price is the same roughly as where it was when the exploit occurred, which was at about 0.0045. And to do that, we're going to be removing some of the RayFi tokens to ensure it's balanced equitably. And those tokens will be going into a multi-sig wallet that is going to be blacklisted from payouts. Basically, that is going to be set up and prepped for future usage within the decks down the road is most likely what'll end up going on with that. So, yep. Just to level the playing field so everybody knows and understands what's going on there, those tokens will not be used for anything else. Those tokens will not be receiving payouts. None of that will occur in any way, shape, or form. We just wanted to make sure it's going to be an even playing field there.
There's a couple good questions here. Legends R Us is saying, do you need to have USDT on OPBNB, or can you just have OPBNB?
So technically, it's just BNB. That is a confusing thing that a lot of people have asked. So I just want to clarify. You are not looking to buy any kind of OPBNB token that is not the official token on OPBNB. It is just BNB. So in the same way that you'll have, like ETH and ETH between Ethereum on BSC and Ethereum on Arbitrum. On BSC, you have BNB, which is your gas. On OPBNB, you have BNB, which is your gas. So it is BNB and BNB. Now, we will be paired to USDT, but it is going to go through the routing on PancakeSwap. So even if you just bring BNB over and that's all that you use, you don't want to convert it to USDT. Basically, when you go to place a trade and you go from BNB to RayFi, what will happen is the system will automatically take the BNB, convert it to USDT, and then it'll buy the RayFi with the USDT. So you won't have to worry about, oh, hey, do I have to convert everything over first? The system will just automatically do it for you without you having to do anything extra. The only stipulation that I would bring up is that I would recommend keeping roughly about 50 to 75 cents in BNB, which again is the gas token on OPBNB. And that should cover basically every transaction for you ever going forward. I think I did the math on it or something like that. And it's like you'd get like anywhere from like 27,000 to like 37,000 transactions or something with just like 60 cents. So, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yep.
That's my baby. Can you explain? Legends R Us is saying how to add OPBNB on MetaMask. Should he just look at the video, or is that something you can kind of explain?
Yeah, so you can look at the video in the RayFi Discord, or you can just simply go to PancakeSwap really quick, and right next to where your wallet is connected at, there is a chain updater, is what I'm going to call it, or a chain changer. Two words that don't sound anything alike. Basically, there's a little drop down that should have like Binance Smart Chain listed. And you'll just swap that from Binance Smart Chain to OPBNB. And then the system will basically say, you don't actually have this in your wallet. Do you want to add this network? And you'll say yes. And then it will add the OPBNB network. It may also give you some kind of a warning, the same way it does with everything else when you add a new network to it, that like, please only add this network if you actually know what it is, blah, 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 blah. So it very likely will say something along the lines of that. And again, that's why I generally just use like trusted sources for that kind of stuff. And PancakeSwap is one of those. So yeah, that's pretty much the easiest way that I can just say that is just go to PancakeSwap, change it from BSC to OPBNB. It'll ask you if you want to add the network. You just confirm that and you're good to go. So, yep, super simple. And again, if you want like a walkthrough, like a step-by-step how to do that, that is also in the video that's available in the RayFi Discord. So there's no need to be like, hey, what's happening? And that is something as well where I will be doing that as part of the AMA tomorrow with the Greek. I'm going to go through and show you guys how to do that. I'll set up a quick little throwaway MetaMask wallet, and then I'll just go add the OPBNB chain to it, and we'll just kind of go from there. So
Legends is asking a question that I was wondering. If you go on PancakeSwap and you switch it to the OPBNB network, does your BNB show up, or is there a bridging that needs to happen first?
So you do have to bridge it.
Okay.
And that's what the like the bridge guide video that I have on the RayFi Discord. It's there where you can just kind of follow the steps that I did. There's also a couple of like, you know, picture guides and things like that as well too. On the RayFi Discord itself, it should be under the bridge to OPBNB under the RayFi info. So it'll be just as like a top to bottom where you can kind of locate it. So there's announcements and then community updates. And then right beneath that is bridge to OPBNB. And that's got all of the info for like how to bridge, everything like that. So you can just kind of follow through step by step there. It shows you the official OPBNB bridge as well as how to use ZK bridge, which is what I personally use. I think it's just a little bit easier to do, but it works in the same way as bridging to any other chain. The one thing that I will bring up is that when you do bridge over from the Binance Smart Chain to OPBNB, you will need to bridge a little bit of BNB in order to make sure that your gas is covered. So if you are planning on bridging, say, USDT or something like that from Binance Smart Chain to OPBNB, you will also need to bridge some BNB over as well for gas purposes. So, you know,
always have some BNB on hand.
Yeah, I would just recommend having a little bit. Again, as I brought up earlier, anywhere from about 50 to 75 cents should cover like basically all of your transactions like perpetually. As I said, I think it'll be something like with 60 cents, it was something like 37,000 transactions or something insane like that. So yeah, it's very much so a situation where you get a lot out of it.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's pretty much the whole process there. The largest buy contest, because I know that was asked about before. I will say this much: I'm not sure when the payout for that is going to happen. We are discussing like when that is going to occur. We're trying to kind of slowly move through things. It is something that we did put out. So we are going to honor it and make sure that is taken care of. But I don't have a specific time frame for when that will happen. So likely it'll just be a situation where that'll probably happen sometime after launch. You will still receive the payouts though. Sorry guys, have my little one show up to show me a cool little resin sword that he found. So needed a second there. Where were we? Yeah. Largest buy contest. Yes, that will be paid out. It will happen likely after the launch though, just to keep it square across the board. That will still be paid out. I believe we said it was USDC. But there is no USDC on the OPBNB side of things, so it'll likely just be USDT. So cool. Take with that what you will. Let's see. I think that covers a good chunk of it there.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
30 minutes, less than 30 minutes.
I did want to bring this up as well. We have made some adjustments to the bot. We are going to see how that kind of goes throughout the rest of the week, and with possible ETF approval for Ethereum. One of the things that we are considering and looking into doing as well too, to kind of balance out some of the slowness that we've experienced due to the market just kind of really being a little bit unfavorable is what I'll say. And we've tried to be a little more conservative and a little more careful. One of the things that we are looking to kind of do to kind of take advantage of some of the up and down volatility that we've had is we are considering moving some of the funds from the Ray bot. Obviously not the Prisma 1 NFT. That's going to remain as it is. But we are considering moving some of the 20,000 that's in the Ray bot and splitting it up. And we're going to move either 5,000 or 10,000 into farming some different on-chain assets. So like some liquidity farming, some, dollar cost average, some liquid staking, things like that we're planning on kind of doing as well, to allow us to kind of, balance this out a little bit more, as we have seen, this month kind of be a little bit slow as we've kind of pulled back and been a little more conservative with some of these larger consolidation periods that we have. We didn't want to get stuck in a long and have the pullback happen the way that it did, because I believe, if memory serves, Ethereum bounced down as low as like 2,800 or something like that.
Yeah,
and
it went down.
we didn't want to be caught in a big long that, say, started in like the 3,600 range, and we're just having to just DCA the entire time and just eat up everything. So we're likely going to end up rebalancing that a little bit so we can take advantage of some of this volatility that's kind of happening here, and refocus it in a couple of other allocations. That's always been part of the plan, just as like a heads up. We just are looking at giving it a little bit more of a kickstart, so to speak. And just as a reminder, some of the farming that we've done has returned anywhere from about 4 to about 6% per month. So the last 2 big months that we kind of tested there, we did about 5.6%, about 6%, and then we reallocated into some other lower yield stuff to test them out and things like that. But those other ones have still kind of remained in about that range. We had one that did just shy of about 2.8% last month. Not the lower, yield ones. Those returned about 1%, 1.2%. But the liquidity farms that we kind of were tracking throughout the entire thing, and I've been using an Excel spreadsheet to track every single day because I'm a madman. That one returned about 2.8%, and the other one that we were looking at returned about 3.4%. So it's part of the reason why we're looking to kind of like rebalance this as some of the time goes on, to ensure that, we're covering all of our bases here. So when the bot has a little bit of a slow month, the positive that we can have is we have some of those other assets in some other places where we can still earn a little bit more. So, that'll be rebalanced as we kind of go into launch.
Is there any for the bot side of things? Is there any talks of like going back to some of the other settings that were getting higher yields, or is that too much risk for what you guys are doing?
So we are slowly tuning up the aggressiveness of the bot just a little bit. In theory, we could just be like, "Yep, let's crank the leverage and go." But we wanted to be very meticulous and very careful with this, because we saw with Ethereum and Bitcoin moving up the way that they were, and there are some very big players that have been in the space, even though they're like, quote unquote, "We're not actually in there. We don't support this. Let's ban it. Blah 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 blah." Both the United States government and Germany is a great example of this, where they just basically liquidated all of their Bitcoin. We pretty much looked at this and we were like, okay, well, we hit all-time highs. There's got to be a pullback here somewhere, very likely before the Ethereum ETF gets approved. And so now what we've kind of did in this place is we wanted to ratchet back the leverage quite a bit to ensure that we didn't run into any kind of issues. And then it did exactly what we expected it would do, which is it consolidated as a lot of these sell-offs occurred, and now we're kind of moving back up in the other direction as well, which is definitely a positive in the space, but we don't want to get into a point where we overextend ourselves. So we'd prefer to kind of slowly, bring up the leverage just a little bit to kind of be slightly more aggressive, but we are still generally just focused on longs. So it is a case where when we are only focused on one side of things, there is always going to be slightly more, I'll call it conservative months. Really, when we can take full advantage of it is when it's going up and down. So that way we're opening longs and shorts and being able to take advantage of both sides.
Yeah.
Because our system allows us to do some dollar cost average, and then we can close out larger positions. The trouble that we kind of face right now is we do have a feeling that this is going to continue to go up and to the right, especially as we move into a bull run. Um,
Right.
so what's happening is we'll say open up a position at 3,200 on Ethereum, and the closeout for it is like 33 or 3,400, something like that. And then we open up another thing, so on and so forth as time kind of goes on. The trouble with that is that a lot of times it'll just kind of slowly move around in that position, so it doesn't have a lot else going on. But since we have a much higher long to short opening possibility, we're basically opening almost no shorts at this time, and that's pretty much to protect us from a possible like cataclysmic up and to the right situation where it's just like Ethereum moonshots and goes from like 32, 33, 3,400 to like 5,600, 6,000,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. So we don't want to be caught in a short in that position that just end up in a full liquidation. So
Right.
basically our entire goal at this point in time is we're just going to take the the smaller gains and the smaller wins with almost no leverage to ensure that we're protected and covered. But that is also part of the reason why we're looking to open up some of those longer positions to allow us, to be more, focused on, hey, it's going to go up and to the right, but then we're also looking to expand out into those other areas, which has always been our plan. So like liquidity farming, dollar cost average, stablecoin farming, liquid staking, things like that. Those
Right.
all kind of are rounded in there together to create a nice balanced mix where we can ensure that, hey, if the bot is doing a little bit worse, maybe the liquidity farming is going to do better. If the bot and liquidity farming aren't doing great, maybe lending and liquid staking and dollar cost average is really where it's at for us, and we can kind of take some profit from there. So it's just those types of positions that we're looking to open and be in. So, yeah.
Cool. Right on. Right on. Right on. Chappie's asking, will there be audits after all the changes and before launch?
I I'm not entirely sure the best way to kind of answer that. I'm not sure which audits he's talking about. So we did get re-audited by Solid Proof. I'll just say that, and I assume that's what you're kind of asking about. Like we did a security audit through them, and we re-verified our KYC and everything through them. So we'll be, putting out their findings, which there basically was none. In fact, they had to like learn a lot about our setup because it was outside of what they were expecting. And we basically created brand new processes that they hadn't seen before. So if that's what you're talking about in terms of like security audits, that has already been completed, and we'll be releasing that information within the next few days here. If you're talking about like audits in terms of like, hey, where are the funds and everything at? We're looking to keep as much as we can in like multi-sig. So that way you guys can actually just see what all like, we're invested in. So like as an example of such, our multi-sig wallets will be available. And that's what we'll be using for these farming strategies, especially on chain. As for the Bybit side of things, there are some plans to be able to hopefully remove the funds, bring them on chain, show them on chain, and then bring them back to Bybit. The trouble we kind of face with that is it's a pain in the backside to really do that, because we have to stop all trading across the board, make sure we don't have positions open, and then we have to move everything from Bybit to a wallet and then bring it back. And that's just there's a lot more involved in that than you'd think. So we're trying to find a better way to do that. And basically one of the things that we've considered doing is effectively just like screen capturing stuff, doing like refreshes on the screen so you guys can kind of see where things are at. Also connect some like APIs so you guys can see some of the trades a couple of days after they've occurred. So that way, you get like full history of like how we're placing these trades and things like that and what trades we're in. So yeah, there's a couple of different answers for that, but depending on like what side you're curious about. So hopefully that helps.
I think everybody has a lot of confidence in you guys, so I wouldn't.
It just was a very open question.
Yeah.
So since we have multiple sides to it, it was something where it was like, I mean, if you're just asking if we're getting audited by Solid Proof, the answer to that is yes, it's completed. But if you wanted to know, like, are we going to be able to see where the funds are and what they're doing? The answer to that is also yes, because at least on chain, they're going to be in a multi-sig wallet. So you'll be able to see like whatever LP tokens we have associated to our given positions. And then for the Bybit side of things, we're looking at some options again with the APIs to provide, historical trades and how it's doing, and then so on and so forth. One of my projects had 7 audits, but changed code, then got hacked. Well, we're not looking to. We've removed all functionality for changing code. That was something we had in our first one. We just totally outright removed that with this new setup. So we're not going to be adjusting code at all. The 2 things that we did have audited as part of this was I guess technically, if you want to call it 3 parts of this, we had our contract audited for our token itself. We had our distribution method audited. And then we also had our vault creation method audited. And that's both the creation and deletion process. So in theory, all 3 of those are basically covered in our audit. So we're in a much better position in that aspect than what we were before. So we're not going to be changing anything in that at all. So yeah, that's pretty much it across the board there. We're very much so going to keep it the same. Nothing going to be, adjusted in that aspect. When we do go to adjust and fully remove the fees and everything associated to RayFi, it will be a situation where we'll re-audit that process as well. So it's not going to be like this is going to be a one-time audit. We're never going to get audited again. That is absolutely not the case. We'll be re-audited whenever we go to have that done. When our DEX comes out, we'll have it re-audited there as well too, as part of it now being an emission-based token. Now, mind you, that will not change anything about the code of RayFi. RayFi will stay the same. Basically, what we're going to have audited in terms of the emission is like we're going to have some contracts that are set up to, the RayFi tokens when they're bought back from trading fees and go into this emission wallet. That emission wallet will then pay out a certain percentage every single day of what is in it. So like using 1% as an example, that would be, something that we'd have audited. But again, that would all be separate processes as time kind of goes on. So nothing about the, specific token and the contract associated to the token is going to change in that aspect. So hopefully that gives a little more insight as to kind of what we're doing. But yeah, basically anything new that we do is going to have an audit associated with it. Unless it doesn't touch the process, the procedure, and the function of RayFi. So as an example, if we were to release Project X, right? That's another farming process or whatever it is, or something different. Project X would be audited. But if the rewards that come back towards the RayFi token from Project X, when that comes back in, that's just going to go into the payout wallet / contract. So it's not going to actually touch anything with the RayFi token. So it's like we wouldn't get RayFi re-audited as part of that process. We just audit Project X because it's a manual transition. So like whatever happens with Project X, whatever is farmed on that side, we then just take whatever percentage or what it might be and then just drop that into the payout wallet / contract, and then it would just pay out to RayFi. So technically, as we add new things, there may not be audits on RayFi, but things that directly touch RayFi and do things directly with the token, it will be part of the audit process. So like that's why I was bringing up the DEX. When RayFi becomes the emission token, nothing about the RayFi token is going to change. It's just going to be used as part of the DEX process. So we will have it, all audited because it's all going to be under this usage umbrella. So we want to make sure nothing breaks, from the DEX to the emission contract to the RayFi token. So we want to make sure all three of those processes work together. But if something is separate, it's not going to touch the RayFi token directly. Just a portion of it is going to go into the payout wallet. So a great example of that is the Prisma One NFTs. So part of the Prisma One NFTs is going to come to RayFi holders in the form of payouts. And so from there, what's going to happen is that we're just basically going to take part of that payout and just put it into the contract / wallet for the RayFi payouts. And then it'll be a situation where that just goes through. Now, with the release of the Prisma One NFT, we didn't have like RayFi re-audited in association to that. So if we were to do something along the line, so like let's say we have the Prisma One NFT BTC, right? At that point in time, that's trading BTC, but it doesn't affect RayFi token at all, even if part of the payout for that comes to RayFi holders every single year. So at that point in time, we wouldn't get RayFi re-audited for that. It just would be unnecessary because nothing about RayFi is changing. So hopefully that answers that. I know it's a little bit more in detail and in depth than probably needs to be, but I just wanted to kind of like cover that a little bit, is that RayFi will be audited anytime it's added into something else. So like when the DEX comes out and the emission, contract and everything like that is set up, RayFi is going to be audited as part of that to ensure that the emission contract that we have doesn't break the RayFi token. Same thing with the DEX. We want to make sure that the way that process works doesn't break our token. So all of that is going to be all encompassed together. But with like, say, whenever we do a Prisma One NFT for Bitcoin, we wouldn't need to worry about that. It's not going to change anything on the RayFi token itself, but part of those payouts are going to come to RayFi token holders. So the positive is they get, a bonus payout at the beginning of every single year, or maybe not a bonus payout, but it'll be a larger payout at the beginning of every single year. So
right on.
And that's the same way with like the Prisma One NFT that's currently trading Ethereum, is that a part of the payout that happens in there is going to go to RayFi holders. So thumbs up for that.
Yeah. Right on.
Yep.
All right. Well, does anybody have any other questions before we wrap this up? Or does Moongod, if you have anything else you haven't told us yet? I know you're going to do your AMA with Greek tomorrow, so if you forgot anything, I'm sure you'll mention it there.
Nope. Most of it is just pretty much going to be, just kind of showing, things like how to do stuff. I'll probably just go through and bridge some assets and things like that over, just so you guys can kind of see the process and just kind of, see what that's like. So, yeah, it's going to be as simple as that. And again, Chappie, I do want to just be clear, not underestimating at all. I just wanted to clarify in what situations RayFi would be re-audited. Again, I'm not trying to diminish that at all. I don't want you to worry about that. We 100% agree with you. Security is super, super important. I just wanted to kind of, without retouching base on everything there, just wanted to just say that the only time RayFi will be audited is if something directly touches it or if we make some kind of an update to it. So like, as an example, as we kind of talked about earlier before, when we go to remove the fees for RayFi, so, the buy fee and the sell fee, we're going to get a re-audit. I don't want to be in a position where like, oh, we change those and it breaks something else problems. So just as a heads up, I agree with you completely there. And I just wanted to kind of clarify what would constitute an audit and what wouldn't. So hopefully that makes sense, but I don't want to like beat that horse to death.
Dave. Okay, looks like TJ's answering his question.
So I do want to clarify a little bit further on that question. It's a great question, and it was, is any money raised from the tokens being injected into the bot? And TJ's response was, there's a 4% buy sell tax, of which a percentage goes directly into the bot. So just to kind of review that really quick in case somebody has missed it, there is a 4% buy fee and a 4% sell fee. There is also an 8% because we consider it a buy and a sell if you were to transfer the tokens to a different wallet. So I want to be resoundingly clear here. Very, very careful in the way that I am wording this. You will be hit with an 8% fee because we consider it a buy and a sell if you move from one wallet to another wallet. We will be providing an option where you can have a fee-free transaction. So like if you wanted to move it to a cold storage wallet, we will have an option where you can do a fee-free transaction to do something like that. With that being said, a portion of the buy and sell fees will go to what I'm calling and what the team is calling the Ray Fund, which will then have various allocations associated with it from bot farming, LP farming, dollar cost average, lending, staking, liquid staking, and stablecoin farming. So we kind of have it split up in a couple of those different areas based on a few things. So as an example of such, I believe we have about 30 to 40% going to the bot farming, about 30% going to LP farming. And then I think if memory serves, I'm mistaken. Let me correct myself right now. It's 30% to bot farming, 30% to LP farming, 20% to dollar cost average, 20% to what we're considering like lending and staking. So an example of that would be like staking USDT and getting more USDT, lending USDT and getting paid out in other tokens. So that kind of stuff. And just to cover that across the board. So that is kind of the allocation of the breakdown. So not all of it is going to go directly into the bot. It's going to be a kind of like a mixed bag there. And the reason for that is exactly kind of proof point for like this past month that we had where the bot did a little bit, lower in returns. But, me, when I was doing my own personal farming, I was able to do like, 4%, 6% the month before that, 5.6% the month before that. So it's like there's a reason why we're wanting to kind of spread this out a little bit more and kind of take advantage of some of these other options and avenues and things like that. So yeah, hopefully that provides a little more clarity, but TJ is 100% correct. A portion of the buy and sell fees and then a portion of the transfer fee is going to go into direct farming. It won't just be the bot though. So just to add a little more to that.
Cool. And
any questions, anybody else? I said this wasn't going to be an hour at the beginning here, and I am just a liar is what it's coming down to.
Well, technically it's not an hour yet.
You're not wrong, but we're getting there.
Unless someone asks you one more question and then.
I know, because me, I could talk for 3.5 years on one thing. So I'll just do this really quick, super fast rundown. So, and then I think we can just call it there unless somebody else pops in and asks a question. Launch date's 27th, most likely will be very, very early Eastern Standard Time. Now, when I say very early, I'm not talking about like 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is not the case. I am not a psychopath. I will not be up at 2 a.m. doing this. But it is inclined for us to kind of have the entire team together, and that's usually pretty early Eastern Standard Time. So the rest of the team, who's mostly in Europe, can be available. So yeah, just wanted to kind of clarify in that instance there. It will probably be relatively early, Eastern Standard Time. As for the vaults, just wanted to touch base on that really quick after finishing the rest of the launch info. So we will be rebalancing the amount of RayFi tokens at the time of launch to ensure we are at the same launch price as when the exploit occurred. So the launch price when the exploit occurred was roughly 0.0045 cents. So we are going to be removing some of the RayFi tokens to get to that 0.0045. Currently, right now, it was going to be closer to about 0.035. So we're adjusting that. Those tokens that are being removed are going to be placed in a multi-sig wallet, and that will be blacklisted from receiving payouts. So nothing is going to go to that. The reason for that is we're going to hold those tokens aside for the emission contract when we eventually move to having the DEX out and about. So those tokens are basically just going to sit out there in the ether, and just months down the road we'll come back to it. Or possibly if we decide to do something else with it, like they'd go into the charity wallet or something like that. But we're considering just having that go towards the emission tokens for when the DEX launches. The follow-up to that as well is the process for the launch. So the way that it will occur is it's going to be a stealth launch. We will fire off a contract / executable code that will create the LP pairing between RayFi and USDT. And right after that, it will airdrop everyone their RayFi tokens. So it'll basically be like bang, bang. So LP created, and then RayFi tokens airdropped, and then trading is on, and, have fun with it. And so that's basically what we're looking at in terms of launch. Then as for the vaults, again, we are going to have the RayFi Auto Reinvest Vault. We're going to have Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and then we will also have 4 token. We will be expanding to have 1 and 3 token in month 2. And 4 token, we are going to basically test with 4 token, but we believe we have an automated process for it. So you'll be airdrop your tokens instead of having to come in and claim. Now, what I did say earlier, and just to revisit that really quick, is if we get to a point where we have like 5, 10, 15, 20, 50,000 people, we may no longer be able to do airdrops, and you'd have to come in and claim. But at no point in time would you ever lose your tokens. So if we eventually have to move to manual claiming, it would be a case where if you just never came in and claimed, your tokens would just kind of sit there. So that's why we're looking at this automated process here, so you don't have to worry about that. Because one of the things that the one team brought up with us was if there's any way if we could just automate at least 4 token, so that way people don't miss out on their BNB rewards. So we're looking to do that, and that would be if we're going to have a vault where something is going to be automated on the BSC side of things. That's the one that we'll have automated. So we'll test and see how everything goes, make sure it doesn't cost us an arm, leg, and a kidney. But if we can have one automated vault on BSC, it's going to be the 4 token. So I'm just going to give you guys the heads up there, just as like a quick baseline. We're going to try and have 1 and 3 be automated as well too, if that's a process we can do. But for sure, we want to see if we can set up 4 token to be automated and go that route with it. So that way you guys don't have to worry about missing out on those sweet, sweet BNB rewards that you get for just holding 4 token. So yeah, those are kind of the 2 big points there that I just wanted to touch base on and just kind of reiterate for anyone that's coming in a little bit late or maybe just skipped through a lot of the stuff at the beginning. So yeah, any questions? Keith said, I appreciate how you went about fixing the launch price to match previous value. Yeah, it was something that you guys brought up in the last AMA that we did, and there were some questions that were out there as well too regarding the the process and what our thoughts were on that, and we wanted to make the adjustment based on that. Again, that's one of the biggest things that we've tried to do on our side is is we listen to your guys' feedback. The team just kind of looked at it like, okay, this is the way to proceed. They've asked for this. Can we do this? The answer to that was simply yes. and then to ensure that we didn't run into a position or a situation where somebody felt like those tokens were just sitting out there allocated for some weird reason that we weren't sure about, we wanted to put them in a place that we knew was going to be safe. So yeah, absolutely. We listen to you guys, it's one of the things that we do, and we we don't always get it right the first time, but we listen where we can.
Yep. Well, I know everybody appreciates you guys. You guys have been working really hard over the past, goodness, how long has it been now? Like a year and some change?
Yep. Oh, and I just realized I never touched base on this. So the first payout, I am the worst of the worst people in terms of lying, because we had so many delays. It's been hilariously tragic.
Yep.
Our first payout is not going to be until September. I know we've had to kind of push this back. That is because we had some issues with Solid Proof and the auditing process. We were hoping the first payout was going to be August. That is not going to be a thing. The reason for that is we don't have enough time. We want to make sure everybody's got a chance to get in the vaults that they want to be into, that everything is going to be set up and good to go the way that we're expecting. So yeah, we're making a couple of changes to allocation. We still have accounted for all of the funds that are in there in what I'll, consider quote unquote excess. So we're still keeping track of this, and that will all go into the first payout as well too. So I just wanted to be clear in that instance. It is going to be a situation where the first payout is going to be September, because we are launching this week on the 27th, and we didn't want to do a payout like 3 days later, 4 days later. So we're gonna farm the rest of July. We're gonna farm all through August, and then September 1st, we're gonna do our payout to all you beautiful holders that are out there. So
that makes sense, since you guys are pretty much launching close to August 1st.
Yeah,
so
that was the thought process on it. And we didn't want to be in a position where, like, let's say somebody had to go out of town and they missed this, whatever it might be, and they weren't able to get into the vaults that they wanted to, and then surprised they're not getting the payout that they were expecting in the token that they wanted. So yeah, we wanted to give people time. We also wanted to make sure that we didn't have anything go sideways, because heaven forbid we launch on the 27th and the vault doesn't allow you to deposit, and then we have to do a payout, and people are unhappy that they didn't get their RayFi auto reinvested, or their Bitcoin, or their 4 token, and then we just other problems. So
right.
Yep. Crypto, in every time one thing goes right, 5 other things go wrong. So yep, we wanted to make sure. And 4 token is a great example of that, and RayFi is a great example of that, where 4 token everything seemed fine, and then Pink Sale just had it routed to the wrong wallet.
Yep.
So just chaos. But yeah, we're trying to mitigate that as much as we can. So
yep.
Cool. Well,
sounds good.
It's going to be very similar tomorrow. We're going to kind of just do like a live demo and demonstration with the Greek, and just kind of show some stuff off there.
Cool.
I will say as well too, we have a couple of interesting things that are kind of in the works. We're really very, very hopeful that some of the other cool vault things that we have planned out in the future will come to fruition as well. So we are really excited for some of the stuff that we have in the works on the back end here, some of the stuff that we've been kind of alpha testing, so to speak. And we think we've got a couple of fun things that are going to be very, very exciting. Not just for RayFi holders in the short term, but RayFi holders in the long term as well, especially as we kind of move towards, the next big project that we're going to have come out, which is RaySwap. So I won't talk about any of that today, because there's a lot more to come in the works for that. But I do just want to say, RayFi holders getting in here early, you're going to see a lot of advantages and a lot of extra bonuses that you may not expect. And we're also setting up some ways for you guys to earn some RayFi tokens as time kind of goes on. So yeah, a lot of things in the work. Very excited, very happy to be working with the One team on this as well too, because we're going to create some nice incentives for them also. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, look forward to hearing about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys. We know that you guys are as professional as they come in this space, and we appreciate that. And definitely that goes in line with what we're doing here at One Token. Just bringing some good solid solidness to DeFi, you know?
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much covered all the questions, everything across the board, and we did hit over an hour because you know me, can't stop talking. So
I honestly thought we were done at like 29 minutes, and you know,
we almost were, and then my brain remembered that there were other things we needed to talk about. So
yeah, which there were. They definitely
yep.
were. All right. Thank you, Yanni. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And yeah, if you have any more questions, there'll be another AMA tomorrow with the Greek, with Moongod. And obviously, you can always ask in the Discord, either the one Discord or the RayFi Discord. And links are in the description for both Discords. All right. Well, thank you, Moongod.
Thanks as always, Oliver. It's a pleasure, man.
All right. Yep. Always a pleasure. See ya.